What's going on YouTube? Flashy here, and today I have another Destiny 2 build video for you guys. But this one's a little bit different. Usually our builds are focused on like doing damage, supporting our team, playing Gambit. Today's build is all about just running through content as fast as you can. Sometimes in Destiny, you're forced to do like world activities, or maybe even you're trying to do like the Beyond Light campaign to unlock stasis before Lightfall for your character, or you're just running bounties on a random world or world activity, whatever you're doing. This build is perfect for if you're just really trying to run through content. And that's actually how I found this. I was doing Beyond Light. I was trying to unlock stasis for my Warlock. And it was a lot of running around, a lot of not being able to use your Sparrow too much. And I was like, man, I wish I just had like increased mobility or just like a mobility build. And I put one together and it's honestly great. Anytime you guys are running any world activities or old campaigns or mindlessly just running through bounties to try to get rep for a certain vendor, this build actually works great. So before we get into that, if you guys could leave a like on the video, that would be much appreciated. Also be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future Destiny 2 videos. But now let's get into the build. We're going to go right into the subclass. We are going to be playing the Arc Warlock. Starting with the super, you can do any super you want, but I've been loving Chaos Reach in both PvP and PvE. This is a PvE build, but man, something about Chaos Reach is just so satisfying. I don't know why. I absolutely love it. After that, for our abilities, we're just going to grab Healing Rift, Burst Glide. The Chain Lightning ability is actually very clutch for this build, so we're going to be running Chain Lightning melee. And then for our grenade, we're going to be grabbing Storm Grenade. Pretty basic ability rundown with the Arc Warlock. But now we're going to move on over into our aspects, and this is what kind of kickstarts the entire build. And it's the first aspect, Electrostatic Mind. And there's a lot going on with this one, as you can see on the right side. Electrostatic Mind is when you defeat targets with arc abilities, or defeating jolted or blinded targets creates an ionic trace. And when you pick up this ionic trace, you become amplified. And that is what this whole build is about. That amplified is how we're going to get that maximum speed boost and just be able to sprint through the content. So for those that don't know, amplified is when your movement speed and weapon handling are greatly increased. After sprinting for a short time, your movement speed is further increased, which is amazing. You get this awesome speed boost, and I'm not kidding, guys. Once that procs, you're never going to want to run around Destiny 2 without it. But then finally, rapidly defeating targets with arc damage makes you amplified. So a lot of ways to get amplified already, either with our arc abilities or just rapidly defeating targets with arc damage. Our second aspect, we're just going to be grabbing Arc Soul. Nothing too crazy, but when we cast our Rift, create an Arc Soul that fires at targets in front of you. Allies can pass through your Rift, get an Arc Soul. Your Rift charges faster when allies are near. Not really going to be using this one too much because, again, we're just kind of running through content. But hey, having an Arc Soul is always good. Also, while amplified, your Arc Souls are supercharged and gain increased fire rate. So just another bonus to being amplified. So now heading down into our fragments. Again, this build is all about being amplified and collecting ionic traces in order to get amplified. So that's kind of what our fragments are going to do for us. The first fragment is going to be Spark of Discharge. Arc Weapon Final Blows have a chance to create an ionic trace. And for those of you guys that don't know, an ionic trace is a bolt of pure arc energy that travels along the ground, seeking toward its creator. When picked up, ionic traces grant ability energy. So basically, as you're playing, you're going to see these little bolts of electricity running towards you. You just pick one of those up. It's going to make you amplified. It's also going to grant ability energy. So when you see those little bolts, you're going to pick them up. And every time you pick up an ionic trace, thanks to our Electrostatic Mind aspect, it's going to make us amplified. But our next fragment is going to be Spark of Focus. After sprinting for a short time, your class ability regeneration is increased. We're pretty much going to be sprinting the entire time, so might as well just grab that. Next fragment is going to be Spark of Volts. Finishers make you amplified. Again, just another way to get that quick amplified in order to get that sprint speed bonus. And finally, we're going Spark of Ions. Defeating a jolted target creates an ionic trace. Again, just another way of getting a trace or getting amplified. Now that we got our subclass done, let's move over into our armor. And the first thing we're going to want to look at is our mobility stat. We're going to want to get this as close, obviously, to tier 10 as possible, as close to that 40% base speed increase. Again, mobility just increases your movement speed and maximum jump height. We want that movement speed maxed out. We can get up to a 40% base increase if we get to 100 mobility. And one thing to get you closer, even if you don't have the best rolls on your current armor, you can just go to armor mods, and right here we can grab the mobility mod, plus 10 mobility. We can actually put this on every piece of armor that we have. The plus 10 mobility, we'll get plus 10 mobility right here. So that's literally a plus 40 mobility increase just off of your armor right here alone. And as you can see, we're at that over 104 now. But after you get the mobility set up on all your armor, we want to head down to the exotic legs. We're going to be using the transversive steps for the Warlock with the armor perk Strange Protractor. Sprint speed increased. Don't need anything else. Like, that's really it. Super simple. It also has the added bonus of after a short time sprinting, your currently equipped weapon is automatically reloaded, which is actually pretty good. But we're really looking at that sprint speed increase. Again, maximizing our mobility as much as we can. And then heading over to our weapons, we definitely want to be focusing on arc weapons. Again, I love the Thunderlord. This is pretty much on any build period, but definitely on my arc build. And with the intrinsic trait, final blows of this weapon generate stunning lightning strikes from above. It's just raining down arc. One of the best weapons. You definitely want to pick this up because it does actually also get a buff in the upcoming Lightfall expansion. Also, if you have the Catalyst, When the lightning strike happens, basically if you get a kill, it partially reloads the magazine from the reserves. So our machine gun's getting reloaded off its catalyst. It's also creating an ionic trace for us to get amplified. And it's also reloading itself automatically after a short time sprinting. So really, really nice synergy there. And then for your energy weapon, again, if you do have an arc weapon, definitely want to go with that. But that kind of wraps up the build. Again, it's nothing crazy, no wild DPS or boss melting or insane support. It's really all just about mobility when you're trying to get from point A to point B in some piece of content, whether it's an old campaign, some bounties, or just random world activities. This works really well, especially as a warlock. I feel like my movement is pretty slow as like a base level with the warlock, but really being able to bump up all these crazy numbers with mobility, sprint speed, sprint boost, amplified, it all comes together really nicely and adds for a very satisfying loop of being able to get through some content. But I hope you guys enjoyed this quick video, no pun intended. Please be sure to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next one.